we sometimes as black females get labelled the angry black woman, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
And like, I personally haven't, but maybe in secret it's happened.
Yeah.
Maybe a job that's tucked on the side, doesn't want to promote it to anybody else, but I've got a special one for you, but you've got to give me a favour.
A sexual favour?
A sexual favour.
Wow. Serena, would you snitch
Snitch on...
this situation
No.
to HR?
No, definitely not.
Interesting question.
Do you see what I mean? Yeah, because we know Serena's not above it.
No, I wouldn't snitch because...
Okay, so I want to ask you girls, how do you politely tell a co-worker to leave you alone?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So I'll excuse myself. I need to go to the bathroom.
Right.
I need to go to the loo. I need to
So
go
it
check
kind of
on something.
avoid kind of vibes.
But then in what in what kind of situation, in what scenario? So as in, like, is this been a long time? Is he pestering me? Is this persistent?
Borderline harassment.
Yeah.
Yeah, borderline harassment. It could be sexual, it could be just maybe bullying, it could be anything. Just
I think for me it would be a lot of avoidance. It would just be avoidance.
Really?
Yeah.
interesting.
I
Until
definitely...
it got to a head.
Until you got to a head. Okay. I definitely wouldn't take that route because I think it's best to kind of nip it in the bud.
Okay. So more direct?
Direct, but more, bit more passive. So a bit more maybe passive aggressive in the sense, or I might use that, or I might use a bit of sarcasm, or I would definitely try to subtly indicate to that person that they were annoying me without being overtly offensive.
Okay. Interesting, because you mentioned that you wouldn't want to be offensive towards them, but then we're in the position now because maybe they've offended you. So do you feel like you owe it to them to be, polite?
I think it's just about dealing with things in a diplomatic way in the workspace.
Yeah.
So I don't know that it's always good to fight fire with fire, especially if you want to be an employee that's regarded as responsible, as someone that's got good people management skills. It might not be the best way to handle it. Might not bode well, yeah. Yeah, it might not. So obviously you can go in all guns blazing and you can match their energy, but what's going to happen is you're going to create more attention to yourself and the situation. And I just don't think it's going to look good if you are going to go for that promotion, or if you want to be deemed as respectable member of staff.
Do you know what? I kind of agree with both of you, right?
Yeah.
So I would go the route of avoid first and then let them know, by the way, I've noticed that you've done this. I'm not really feeling it.
Yeah.
And the third route I would go is actually to report them.
Okay.
I don't business. Like, I don't care if we're cool, like, or whatever. I feel like once you've hit a certain boundary, I'll give you a couple of levels, and it's like, right, you're now on a third level. This is now me to report you to whether my management or whatever kind of system your workplace has.
Yeah.
Because I think people don't always listen, they feel more than anything. So if they feel like, right, I can just say whatever, she's just going to avoid me, I can just bump into her in the canteen or whatever, she's still not going to do anything, so it doesn't really matter, I can sort of continue with this behaviour.
Yeah.
But if you now report it, I think that's probably the best, for me personally.
There's repercussions.
That is, there's repercussions. And now you've made it very clear that this is definitely, one, a boundary, and two, I just don't have time to entertain it. So let someone else deal with it. Do you know what I mean? I'm passing the buck now, so my workplace, deal with it.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of vibe.
No, I agree with that. Because if it is going to get quite confrontational, to avoid that, at that point, maybe that's the best time to, like you said, report it.
Exactly. And do you think, like, you know, when we sometimes as black females get labelled the angry black woman, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
And like, I personally haven't, but maybe in secret it's happened.
Yeah.
Because I am quite firm, right, at work. So I think, do you think that by being too upset about a situation like that will now kind of label you as an angry black person? Or would you say that we've kind of gone past that stage now? It's not really a big deal anymore. People don't really look at us like that anymore, or not that much.
Christina?
No, I don't. I feel like we're moving away from that. I don't really hear it.
Yeah.
I haven't experienced it myself.
Yeah,
but like you said, it could have
yeah.
happened behind my back,
Yeah.
but I haven't experienced
Yeah, I'm the
it.
same,
And
yeah.
I feel like we are moving past that.
This is good news.
disagree.
Very.
I don't think we're
Oh,
moving past
okay.
it. I don't think these are the
Okay.
types of things that you would hear. No one's actually going to say that to your face. I think these
Not
are...
not the words, angry black woman.
But these opinions would be expressed behind your back.
Yes.
And or it would be something that someone would internalise, but they're actually thinking, oh, typical. I mean, look what happened with Serena Williams with the tennis game and how she reacted and how it was completely blown out of context.
Yeah, that's true.
So I feel like we can have emotions, but the types of emotions that they want us to have is more victim type emotions rather than
damsel in distress kind of vibe.
Rather than aggression and I'm gonna stick up for myself type of energy.
That's where I feel like going the company policy route is sometimes the best route to go, especially in the position that we're in as black females in a corporate environment. The reporting aspect of things kind of just tells that person, by the way, I'm watching you, but I'm just going to let everybody else know that I'm watching you as well. Instead of it being like a guns blazing, I'm going to have an argument with you, or I'm going to actually come up to you and have this conversation with you, it could become quite uncomfortable. I totally get that.
Definitely.
And that makes me go on to sexual favours at work.
You make it sound so
So
normal.
we've moved from harassment in any form to now the real harassment that really gets people nowadays. And people get sacked for it on a day-to-day, because it is actually disgusting when we really think about it. And generally speaking, this might come from your boss or superior of some sort. That might have maybe a job that's tucked on the side, doesn't want to promote it to anybody else, but I've got a special one for you, but you've got to give me a favour.
A sexual favour.
A sexual favour.
Wow, I never knew this.
A sexual favour. It could be anything, a BJ, whatever's on the list.
I haven't heard it called that in
Whatever.
a long
And
time.
like, for real,
it's real.
this is a real thing. Like,
It's
it
real
really
and
happens
it's really
behind the
common.
scenes.
It's really
and it's
common.
very common. And especially now that, the percentage is kind of quite large for flings at work. Are they really flings or are they sexual favours?
Yeah,
Who knows now?
I think the lines might be a
knows?
bit blurred. Some might
Exactly.
be.
Who knows at this point? Which I felt was quite interesting to know. I think poor communication at workplace is talking behind each other's back instead of engaging in direct conversation, gossiping about someone or talking about them without their knowledge, etc. So you mentioned that earlier, feeling that kind of uncomfortableness, if that's a word, but just feeling uncomfortable with, your colleagues knowing something that was supposed to be quite private. But it was now like, right, am I being ridiculed or am I being praised? You just never know. And it's a horrible feeling. And having these like sexual favours is something that, of course you don't want anybody to know about it. I mean, I personally haven't, but, you don't want anyone to know about it. But then it's like, how do you never? Yeah, it's a massive risk. Like, your job is on the line, essentially. Because who knows if that boss decides, actually, I ain't got that job, but I'm just going to tell my colleague next door in IT that this is what we've done. Then what? Is it really worth
I've actually
going to that?
Been in a work environment where a guy did say that he had, a level of intimacy with a particular member of staff, and it went around the whole office. All kinds of things go around offices. It's almost like a playground. Pictures can go around offices. Things can get leaked.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. Emails, WhatsApps, etc. So
Videos, everything.
It can
Or even
be.
on a political scale as well. So Matt Hancock, he's
Exactly.
fling got caught on camera
that
and
was
leaked.
Well, that was very explosive.
I think both of them ended up getting divorced or whatever it was because they were both married at the time.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's really common, and I think we underestimate how common it is.
Definitely.
And there's a lot more that needs to be done to protect particularly women, because they are going to be the target in this.
That's it.
In this, typically. But I'm sure we're going to get more and more examples of women doing it to men.
Yeah.
As more and more women get into
Absolutely.
positions of seniority. Potentially, unless the culture changes before.
Yeah. Or perhaps it's more known that the women have been coerced into doing something or whatever.
Yeah.
But the women have always been doing it behind the scenes. Who knows? Because they just wouldn't, maybe the guys don't want to say anything out of just sheer embarrassment. Like, it's like, how did this woman kind of get me in this position? You know, that kind of thing. That's interesting, though. That's interesting. I mean, for me, I do feel very sorry for anyone that would feel that they would have to do something like that, and they would have to put themselves in that position where they now have to do something sexual for that person to now give them something back. Especially a promotion. Like, I don't know, is it ever that deep? But then I'm not in their shoes, so I'd never judge anyone on that. It's just wild, you know. But yeah,
would you see them differently though?
No, I don't think I would judge.
And it was a friend, and you heard through a couple of people
that they did something
to promote themselves, and it was a sexual favour. How would you feel? And you both went. Oh, let's add a little spanner. You both went for the same position.
Oh, that's a mazza.
100%.
Yeah.
Can you imagine both of us going for the same role and you're out here doing the most?
Yeah, the most, because I want the job.
First of all, I'd be very upset. But you know what? I always feel like God is my best friend, as I always preach. I feel like whatever obstacle comes in my way to not allow me to have that position, that position wasn't mine. So whether it comes in the form of someone getting down with the manager, do you?
So you wouldn't feel cheated?
I'd feel cheated, but then that's also my ego at the same time. I'd feel, and I think it's just through growth, like me personally, I just don't feel like I would be that personally attached to the situation. I'd feel like, damn, like, was it really that deep? Did you really need to do that? You know, I'd judge on that aspect, and it's like, you're a big woman or man or whatever. Like, why would you do that? But at the same time, I think, you know what? It wasn't meant for me then, because if it's meant for me, none of this would have happened. Like, I would have just got offered the job, and they would have never been offered that role.
I hear it.
Let's
Serena
say.
a question though. Serena, would you snitch?
Snitch on
This situation?
No.
To HR?
No, definitely not.
Interesting question.
Do you see what I mean? Yeah, because we know Serena's not above it.
No, I wouldn't snitch because it's all. I know I wouldn't, but it would open my eyes to that is what was required in order to get the role, and I just accept I was not willing to do that. Even down to this is a bit more of a less corporate environment, but even the music industry, I realised something I really wanted to do as a young lady, but then when I hear the stories of what women went through, and I was like,
it's quite dark.
I was never willing to do that. Did you hear about that Ashanti? What happened with her?
No.
She recorded, I don't know, let's say 3 songs. And then she wanted to...
Is this allegedly, by the way?
No, she talks about it in an interview. She recorded 3 songs, she wanted the songs, and then the producer goes, well, yeah, you need to get in the shower with me.
Wow. Well, damn. That's an advancement and a half.
Yeah,
that is
you have to get in the shower with me. And she's like, she thought he was joking, and he was like, no, I'm being for real.
No, that's disgusting.
Yeah, so that's pretty normal
in that industry.
Yeah, I've experienced.
Do you know what? There's a few things that I've understood also in the modelling industry as well that can be a bit, you know. But I think
the modelling industry is awful for that.
Yeah, but you know, it's a funny one because I think modelling, again, because it is work at the end of the day, it's such a creative environment that allows you to really express yourself, and it's beautiful. But then there's a dark side to it, of course, and I think there's always going to be a dark side to anything, and same with corporate. There's always going to be a dark side to it, racism, you name it, all that kind of stuff, you know. Talking about that, like racism or any form of discrimination, how would you stand up for yourself at work? What would you do if you needed to? Like, let's say you were discriminated against because your age or your sex or whatever.
I think I'd go down the formal route. Go through HR, make formal complaints. I'm fortunate enough to be in a union. Reach out to them as well, and you know, protect myself in that way.
So let's say that
tackle it.
Yeah, sorry to cut you, but let's say right, that's your scenario. Okay, so now you've done all of that.
Yeah.
But it leaked to your colleagues. Everybody knows about this, you know, but now they've made you feel uncomfortable. How do you manage that? Now you're the odd one out.
Yeah.
Because now everybody knows about this situation.
So wait, hold on.
Everyone knows about the situation, but nobody's come to you and said, oh, by the way, I know what you've done. I know that you've reported our colleague over there.
So do you mean like she would now be labelled the troublemaker?
Yes. You're the odd one out.
I would have to go back to my manager. We would have to have a conversation because I don't go to work to feel uncomfortable. I don't go to work to be intimidated.
100.
I don't go to work to be bullied.
Yeah.
So I think, no, it's true because
true.
Now it's a line everybody has to cross.
It's
not
100% true.
Yeah, it's not me that's going to have a problem. Everybody's going to have a problem.
100%.
Yeah, and you know we work in an environment where once these things are highlighted, people do address and correct their behaviour.
Yeah.
And I'm fortunate enough to work in an environment like that. Now,
100%.
if I was working in a different office space,
let's say it's intimate.
It's an intimate office space.
Yeah.
And everyone knows my business.
10 people, everybody knows everyone's cat and dog's name.
I think that's difficult.
That is difficult.
It's that close.
Okay,
How do you manage that?
the couple of things with that, I wouldn't put myself in a culture like that if I didn't like it. So I wouldn't stay.
So you'd remove yourself.
I'd remove myself. Yeah,
Apply,
I couldn't be in a culture where, you know, I wasn't respected. I didn't feel protected, and I couldn't speak my mind either.
Yeah. So you wouldn't hold back. That's good.
No, I wouldn't. No.
And what about yourself, Selena? What would you do?
What would I do? First of all, I think it's really important to be able to establish when you are victim to these
Good point.
discriminations.
Sometimes it's your ego, innit?
Well, not so much ego. Sometimes, let's say, for instance, you might, that's just banter. You know, you might brush it off as just banter.
Yeah,
you might just say, oh, boys will be boys. There's a lot of this sort of excusing certain behaviours.
Yeah.
Or not being, there's no education. We don't get educated on what is discriminatory behaviour. We don't know all the time. So
Well, you say that. There are some protected characteristics, actually, by law. I don't know if them off the top of my head, but sex, religion.
oh no, the laws are there to protect us. But if you're not aware of the
Okay,
protection
of course, yeah.
that is available to you,
Yeah, that's
then
true.
sometimes you don't know. Okay, is there any protection for me? In
Start
this
reading
space?
up, guys. Start reading up for real.
Absolutely.
Start
So I
reading
think
up
the
because
first
we
place
are
to start
protected.
is
It's just like you said,
to be aware.
Find out
of
what that
is,
is.
and then that can kind of help you have more confidence about going down the.
And you'd have
HR
less of a
route.
conflict as well at work, wouldn't you? Because once you know your place and you're
You know your
confident,
rights,
and people see that you're confident and you know what's really good, that it's less likely to create any kind of conflict for you or make you feel inferior in any kind of way. Or
I
whatever.
agree. You won't be gaslighted. Put it that way.
Yeah, 100%. Forbes say, I do like Forbes. Shout out.
Just a
They say that you should tune into yourself. This is advice. If you were ever in that position, tune into yourself. If you're not spiritual, it just means understand who you are, essentially. You already know who you are or your position and the circumstances. So the consequences inside out, which automatically makes you your own most well-informed mentor and the best person to draw a sound decision. And that comes from experience, I think, also. And
I agree.
and again, like coming from a place of confidence and trying to understand, like, do I understand this situation properly? Even if I don't, I know myself. I know what I'm capable of. I'll just keep it moving at the end of the day. So, yeah, thanks for that. Do you know what percentage of people that are actually upset with their jobs or don't like their jobs in the UK?
I'd say over 50%, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah, same. Over
50.
probably.
It's actually around 33.33.
Okay. A third.
UK employees are unhappy.
1 out of 3. It's still a lot. Still too many.
Yeah.
Our numbers were wild.
So 60, so 60 something percent. I guess to a degree we're
33%, right?
33% are
Okay, yeah.
unhappy,
Unhappy, okay.
which is not bad, I guess, grand scheme of things. I thought it'd be a lot more than that, but 33% is still not great either. You don't want anyone to be upset in their working environment, but anyway, we move.
Okay.
But that is the UK. Who knows? Perhaps in Dubai, where they don't really pay tax, I think it's 5%. Maybe you might be a bit more happier.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? That's interesting. We were speaking about protection, right? So I don't know if you guys are aware, but we've got the Equality Act 2010, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Now that makes it unlawful to discriminate against employees due to their race in particular. Yeah. The reason why I say race is because obviously we are black females that are, I think, successful in our own rights, and we are quite hardworking, driven, etc. So that can sometimes be a bit intimidating for other people, and sometimes a triple threat, let's say, It can be. And sometimes that can also make us feel a bit like, oh, hold on a minute, am I doing too much? But we're actually not. And just remember that we are actually protected against that kind of discrimination, whether it's your age, race, sex, whatever, orientation, all that stuff. Yeah. I'm going to round this up with a few unethical tips for climbing the corporate ladder, which I'm sure that some of you might be interested in. I think all of us have kind of said that we're kind of innocent. We wouldn't really do anything unethical, but some of you might. But let's see. Them ones there. Them ones there. Yeah, them ones. Okay, cool. So, throw your predecessor under the bus.
Serena.
Never. Snitch. For real. Never tell it how it really is. Interesting. Avoid taking personal days, vacations, or medical leave at all costs. So basically die at work, essentially. And you will get promoted in the next life. In the next life, you will get promoted. Discredit co-workers when they take a personal day, vacation, or medical leave.
I see a lot of that.
I'll leave that with Serena to do. Expert. I like a holiday myself. So. Eliminate senior manager or senior middle managers blocking your career trajectory. Interesting.
Eliminate them.
Assassinate their character. Get rid. ASAP. Get rid.
Okay.
Never stick around long enough to implement any of your crappy ideas. Essentially, what that means is give them a good idea, or if it is a good idea, and then just run away, give it to somebody else, delegate the job to someone else, and then come back and say, look what I've done.
Yeah, right.
Okay. Never stick around for them to now criticise that either. Right?
Damn, okay.
Let it be known that my idea was sick and you've got no say in it.
You just move on.
You move on.
Yeah. And then you look, oh my God, look, they were so incapable.
So incapable. How dare they? I put you in place.
It's actually genius.
Unethical, by the way.
Sorry.
Maybe now, also, in meetings, volunteer your stuff that you'd never intend to do. So kind of similar.
Okay.
Yeah, volunteer stuff like, I don't know, I'm going to go and pick up the papers from next door. But you never do it. You just get someone else to do it.
Right, got it.
Okay. Be perpetually vague and imprecise. Sit on the bench.
Okay.
At all times. Never give your real opinion. Just
be diplomatic.
Interesting. Very diplomatic. Just chilled, If someone asks you what your opinion is, you don't really have an opinion because you're just a bit vague.
Okay.
You never really answer it. And then remember that underlinings exist only for your own fulfillment.
Underlinings, what do you mean?
So like you'd basically make sure that whatever you say is for your benefit. At all times. It makes you look bigger than what you are.
Fantastic.
Okay.
At all times, yeah. And then one more. Use false praise to disguise your true intention of stealing good ideas. Crazy.
Like,
so those were
God, that's amazing.
Yeah, and I'm going to do that tomorrow.
Write it in my notebook.
Yes,
this new initiative,
right? In the next meeting as well. Yeah, in the next meeting, trust. My manager would be like, "Damn, that was a good idea." I know. It was mine. My closing question now. Yeah, just give me a yes or no answer.
Sure.
Are we, as a minority, pushing more in the corporate and self-employment world, and are we becoming more influential?
Yes.
That was a resounding yes.
Yes.
And this is a resounding goodbye. So thank you so much for tuning in to W Lounge podcast. We look forward to seeing you again, speaking to you again. And any comments?
Make sure you subscribe.
Comments, yes, subscribe, follow, share, like, all the jazz. And please leave any comments, any questions that you might want us to ask for the next session. So yeah, thanks, bye.
Ciao.